de Falla set is just exuberant, and it's really fun to listen to, and it's very Spanish flavored.
They're very exciting pieces to play on the piano, and really well written for the voice, and I love the way they fit together.
It's another one that's easy to listen to because you know where it's going. You know the kind of like sexy and exotic feel that, and you can kind of picture what kind of person would be singing those pieces.
If I had to pick a favorite, I'd probably say that set was my favorite. I like working with Saira a lot. She's obviously very, very talented and knowledgeable and thoughtful about what she does. And she's the type of singer who, will be very well prepared with everything and have really specific ideas about what she wants sort of in the ensemble, like collaboratively, which is nice for a collaborative pianist like myself to just really be able to talk with the other person to find out like what mood do we want, what specific sounds do we want, what's the approach to this piece, so we can figure that out together.
Yes, exactly like that.
Yes.
And actually, I could probably be a little faster. I started us off too slow. So
the 4/8. Sometimes we'll work with musicians who aren't quite as thoughtful as Saira. So it's gratifying to work sort of on the same level with somebody. And then, besides the talent and the thoughtfulness, what I like probably most about Saira is her personality. She's not a diva. She's very easy to talk to and have a conversation with, and she's very humble. So I really like that about her.
I love Ruben. I met Ruben almost 3 years ago. I think 3 years ago now.
Almost at the exact moment that I quit my corporate job.
And we were doing a short performance at the Italian Cultural Center where I sang a couple arias and then a couple other singers sang as well. And at the time, Ruben was still working at his day job, as we musicians like to call it.
8 hours a day in a cubicle without a window. Doing essentially the same work over and over.
He wasn't focusing 100% on just his playing career.
I had gotten a call from this woman who was engaged to play a concert of Italian arias at the Italian Community Center in Milwaukee. And it came at this point when I was sitting in my cubicle thinking, okay, the way out of the cubicle is to take every single opportunity that comes along so I can start building up this network again. It didn't sound like something that I would be super excited about doing, but I had just made this pledge to myself that I was going to take anything that came along. So I said, yes, I'll do it. And Saira was one of the singers. That kind of turned my way of thinking about that specific gig around, where I was like, oh, if doing this means I get to work with musicians like this, then I think I'm definitely kind of on the right path, you know.
But then shortly thereafter, he ended up quitting his day job and going full-time music, which is a very exciting thing for the Milwaukee singer crowd.
Whenever I think of Saira, I always think of her as somebody who was there at this kind of turning point in my life in some way to go to music. So I always think of her fondly for that reason too, you know, in addition to liking her as a person and as a musician.
Plus, as a collaborative pianist, he's good at listening to a singer and having that critical ear and understanding like what kind of tempi changes might help a singer's voice. And he always has really instructive criticism for me when we're working together, and I appreciate that as well. I especially think, between this recital and all the other work I do, I'm so involved in outreach and getting music out into the world and kind of communicating opera to people who otherwise maybe wouldn't have a chance to hear it or see it. And especially in this recital situation where it's a lot of family members, it's a lot of people from my churches. I work at some Christian Science churches where I sing, so it's a lot of people from there. It's a lot of just community members, from my childhood church, and people in the area who I know, who are my friends, who don't have the opportunity to travel to Chicago to hear me sing, or to travel to Madison, or to go to some of my bigger events. So putting on a small recital like this for that kind of audience is really exciting for me, and I try to think of what would be the kind of music that they can grasp, but at the same time will kind of push them beyond their limits, make them think outside the box and hear something that they probably wouldn't hear anywhere else.
Seeing the program that Sarah had picked out that she wanted to do for the recital was also exciting for me to work on as well. So I didn't have to think very much about it. I had a pretty busy schedule going on, but I thought this is something I really wanted to make time for.
So there's just so many things that go into programming, and I think this is a good balance. Those three sets. The Dvorak is so romantic and full, and then the Barber comes back, and it's very florid and complex in its accompaniment especially, but it has these same big builds and these big gorgeous lines, and I think that makes it kind of a good offset to the Dvorak, which is maybe a little simpler in style, though still big and dramatic. And then ending with the Falla is it's so thrilling and exciting, and there again you've got great piano music, wonderful things for Ruben to perform, and just a little extra flair that maybe isn't apparent in the Barber set. I try very hard to just stay in the music. So really focused on what I'm singing and why I'm singing it.
You know, you really have to just stay in the moment when you're performing. It kind of is the culmination of all of the rehearsing and the practicing that you've done. And when you do that, it just, what you're really training yourself to do, in addition to kind of playing the notes, is just to be like as focused as possible.
I always try to make sure that I'm in a state of mind where I can just let my mistakes go by and just focus in the moment and stay in the performance so that I never end up beating myself up during a performance, because that becomes so apparent to the audience as well. They can tell, even if it's just a little loss of spark. You know, they can tell when you're not fully focused on the performance.
So I mean, you're just focused on issues of musicality then, you know, I mean, it's a given that you know what the notes are and you don't have to think too much about what notes you're playing, but then you need to kind of think about phrasing and making just really beautiful musical statements. And it's a lot of listening to, it's constant listening to the person that you're making music with too, to see sort of what, to not only do what you've been rehearsing, but to see kind of what new you can bring, what new thing you can bring to it this time that you're playing it. So
it's difficult to not let yourself come out and kind of take note of your audience and take note of the people that are watching and listening and things that might be happening in the audience. But that's, you know, one of the things we're trained for, and one of the things that we continually work hard at our whole lives, really trying to stay focused and in the moment and connected with your pianist and creating.
And there are times when your brain will play tricks on you, and for some reason you'll have just some completely random thought that has nothing to do with the piece you're doing, or maybe even what's going on in your life at the moment. But you know, it's a little like meditation, in that you have to kind of observe that it's there, but then put it away because you can't linger on it for any amount of time, because that'll just ruin, you know, the purpose of the performance. You know, you can sort of feed off the energy and the anxieties even, and sort of the excitement of each other to kind of, you really do feel that when you're performing too. You know, any shift in energy, I think I felt it from Saira, and from some of the things that she did, I know she was feeling it from me too. So it's kind of nice to be kind of that in tune with what each other is doing.
and it ends so strong then with the final aria that I chose is just really, really powerful. And the singer in that aria, you know, she kind of throws her life for love. She ends up killing herself at the end of the opera, which happens shortly after the aria. So it's a huge dramatic high, but it also made for a big ending, and especially pianistically, Ruben has these gorgeous expansive chords, and he's all over the piano, and it's just a huge climax. There was just no better choice. So we threw our audience to the wolves a little bit emotionally, but I think it's so worth it, and it's wonderful to put music in front of people that shows more than just a pretty voice, that shows how much music can communicate and how many stories music can tell, you know, just with two people, just with a piano and a voice, what can be brought to the table.